things. Obviously, Terrence, you work for HBO, so you got to see the 5-minute Superman trailer before everyone else. But James Gunn, most known for obviously Guardian of the Galaxy, unveiled a 5-minute preview of Superman, which is set to hit theaters in the summertime. Looking forward to that. The preview basically showcases more of the relationship between Superman and his best friend Krypto, or Milo if you want to say. Clearly, he was very injured. The superhero's companion brings the Man of Steel back to his little remote setup, and he's greeted by a group of robots who take care of him, and then basically they put like a weird, how would you describe it, like a little light lensy thing that basically like the sun gives him like his powers back. But it looks like it's gonna have a good blend, because I feel like with the Zack Snyder depiction, it was very inspired by the Dark Knight, and they want to go for like more of a darker tone. But this one seems like it's gonna have a good blend of action, and then also romance, and then also a comedic side to it as well too, at least from what I saw with Krypto, and then when the robots were interacting with Superman as well too. But what are your guys' early thoughts on it, man? Do you think, because if this fails, then DC is cooked. Yeah. This is basically going to set everything moving forward with what they want to do in the long term.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I think not necessarily, because it's just so easy to just do another Superman movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those IPs that no matter what, there's always going to be another Superman. If this one fails, and they're like, okay, we need to figure something else out, but it's going to be Superman.
Yeah. Well, as far as like just DC in general.
Yeah, but I guess I'm saying, like, I feel like they would still find a way to rectify that, you know?
Yeah.
But because also, honestly, the DCU didn't start off that great, and then they ended up, like, Wonder Woman came out, and the first one was really good, and they had something else but regardless, it's tough for me, honestly, to see someone other than Henry Cavill.
He bodied that role.
I think he was like
the best.
He was like our
Tobey Maguire.
No.
My favorite, Andrew Garfield.
Reeves, the guy who used to play Superman back in the day, who was like ended up getting paralyzed. Christopher Reeves.
Christopher Reeves,
yes. Like for a lot of older people, like he is like their quintessential Superman. Yeah. I feel like Henry Cavill was that. It's hard for me to see anyone else in the role, especially this guy. To me, looks just kind of weird in it.
Yeah.
It could be okay, but like I'm just not excited, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they had to have done something right to believe in him as well too, because even though I was young, I can still remember, and I had a huge connection. I mean, they kind of swapped out a couple of the Batmans as well too, but once they announced that Christian Bale was going to be Batman, I was just like, you don't look like a Bruce Wayne. You don't look like you could play Batman well. I saw the trailers. He had to go in between voices and whatnot, and they were able to get it done. So I'm gonna be open-minded and see what he has to say. I'm interested to see that, because outside of that, the cast looks relatively pretty well casted. But I don't know how I feel about Krypto, bro. I mean, I know he was like in the comics and whatnot, but I don't know what route they're kind of going for. And I know they're sticking super to the comics, at least, even with the Henry Cavill like outfit that he had, the Superman costume, like that felt more modernized, and I like how they went that way. But this one with the whole little tighty whitey shit, I'm not really a fan of that at all, dog.
Yeah.
So I forgot what their budget was, but yeah, they're really banking on this, because if this doesn't do well, then you're not going to be excited from a fan base to continue with what they have lined up and in project right now with the other DC movies. So we'll see how this pans out. Because I'm already tapped out with Marvel. I'm low key tapped out with Marvel. I ain't gonna lie.
Really?
Yeah, I'm kind of tapped out with Marvel, bro.
I'm not.
I feel like I'm excited for the new phase that they're doing, obviously, but they just came at a certain point, especially like for me personally. Like once they had WandaVision and Loki, and then they did the She-Hulk, and then they did the what's the guy Moon Knight and all that, and then Captain America. I was just like, yo, it's kind of like Lil Wayne's music. Like, you're just throwing so much content.
They did
out
too
there
much
for me to
but there's only 2 movies coming out this year.
I mean, now they're taking a break from it too. So we'll see what happens. Because Man of Steel, I liked it a lot. Did you like Man of Steel?
Yeah, that's also why I feel like tonally that was great. Mm-hmm. ended up getting ruined because of like Batman versus Superman and this other stuff. But like the Man of Steel and his portrayal in general was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Man of Steel was solid. How'd you feel about Batman vs Superman?
Real quick, also, Michael Shannon, the guy who played Zod.
Oh, he's
in Man of Steel,
legend.
and he came back in the Justice League movie or the Flash movie.
Oh yeah, he a legend.
He was amazing in that role.
Yeah.
But yeah, Batman vs Superman. I really didn't like Ben Affleck as Batman.
I like Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne based on when I used to read the comics and all that, but Batman, I didn't like him as Batman.
Yeah, that's real too. Him in the suit it didn't feel good. It didn't feel right. Also, the suit they had for him, I didn't really like.
Nasty work.
And to me, it was also your similar thing of, and maybe I can feel you have an apprehension at first, but I think everyone agrees at this point that Christian Bale like was amazing in that role. Mm-hmm. So you're also now being the first guy to come off of it, and I feel like if you're not great, it's even more underwhelming.
Yeah.
And which is why I think now Robert Pattinson got a little bit of a. He had an easier time because now you're coming off of one that people didn't really like.
Yeah.
So even though I think he did great and I think he's going to be good as the Batman,
yeah.
I think you also have a little bit of advantage of like you just need to be decent and be like, all right, this is much better.
Is Robert Pattinson technically considered a part of that DC, the new era of DC universe?
No.
So we have another Batman.
Different. I don't know if they're gonna maybe cross him over or just not have Batman in theirs, but at least originally, also they retcon stuff. They might be like, okay, we're gonna put him in, but originally they said he's supposed to be his own thing.
Especially with the different Earths too in the comics. Suicide Squad was decent. I like the first Wonder Woman. I didn't really care too much about the second Wonder Woman. Justice League was mid, but I did like Zack Snyder's his director's cut one. Mm-hmm. I like that one too. Aquaman, I fell asleep in the movies for that. Shazam, I didn't really like it. Birds of Prey was decent. And then Suicide Squad 2 was okay. And then, like you said, 1984, Wonder Woman, So they kind of mid with that whole situation. So I really hope they pick it up. And I feel like early on, they just try to compete too much with Marvel. Like, just go at your own pace.
That was the biggest thing is, to me, one of the reasons why Man of Steel was so good and successful is it was its own movie. Mm-hmm. And then everything else they did after that felt like we're trying to include all these characters and stuff like that. And it's like, when you look at Marvel, they were successful because all their first stuff, it was like, these are their own movies. Mm-hmm. And even some of their stuff in there was also like, this is just this own movie. Maybe the end credits will connect you or something, but like, we're not trying to spend this whole movie setting up every other movie. Yeah. A lot of this stuff just didn't feel like it was made to stand on its own.
Mm-hmm. Nah, that's a great point that you brought up as well too. So yeah, they should definitely take that route mixed with the Dark Knight, where you focus it solely on the story and the character, and then maybe have some wiggle room for little hints here and there to put all them together. It can be done. I guess DC just has such a stigma of the quality of movies that they make. I'm just like, I don't even know if they can be successful in making all these superheroes into live action films, but we'll see.
I think it would be so much smarter for them to like just not try and do a shared universe, just do one-off live action and stick to their DC's animated stuff
is top tier.
Literally top tier. Marvel's animated stuff doesn't even compare. So it's like, why don't you just stay in the lane that you're very successful at? You can do some foraying into the live action, but like, if they spent more effort on that, I feel like that could be a lot more successful.
And they're very dark with their content on the animated side of things as well too. And I feel like one of the differences with Marvel is they're kind of a tweener with them being a little dark and then also having a little bit of a humorous side to it as well. So I know you're trying to maximize profits as well too, but like I would like a DC in a world where like they say fuck that rated PG-13 shit with certain superheroes moving forward. That would be kind of nice.
Wasn't Batman? It was R.
That was
PG-13.
That's a great question. I'm not sure. Was it rated R?
I don't know.
I feel like I don't remember any super explicit content to make it rated R. Yeah. But that very well could have been rated R as well too. But the other ones were PG/PG-13. Because I want to see some sick shit.
You could even like Dark Knight Rises wasn't, R, but it was still PG-13. But like you can still make stuff dark within those confines as well. So like they just got to do better.
Yeah. So with DC, this drops, and then is it the Justice League that not Justice League? I'm sorry, Green Lantern that drops this year, or they're just in pre-production slash.
Yeah, I don't know if they have.
No, because you said Marvel's dropping 2 movies this year.
Yeah, Thunderbolts and
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four. Yeah.
I hope Fantastic Four is good because those heroes are mid.
Honestly, I like the original Fantastic Four movies.
Did you rewatch it as an adult?
I haven't watched it as an adult.
Oh, okay.
I have not.
Just rewatch it and then let me know your thoughts personally.
It's also, I think that's unfair sometimes to do the things like.
I mean, there's certain movies I can like now that I've like gotten older, I can appreciate them more, and then there's more when I go back. I'm just like, yo, this shit was bad, but we're also in that era where we're coming off of Tim Burton's film, so I can see why they made the movie in that tone and went in that direction, but them shits weren't good.
But I feel like if I enjoyed it at a certain time,
Yeah,
then that means that they had a audience that they were looking for, and they clearly found it.
yeah.
You
mean,
know?
it's pretty easy to enjoy a lot of mediocrity as a kid because we're also at an age now too. At least for me, it's like I try to have a good balance of critiquing it from all aspects, and then just as you know, when you're a kid, you're basically just suspending your reality and you're just watching it for what it is. But yeah, I'll say this: they casted perfectly with all 4 of the heroes, but yeah, the Doctor Doom and then they was just kind of mid. But
I think there's also something too to be said about like it wasn't they were kind of among the first of this real wave of like superhero movies. Of course, I know they've had superhero movies for a while, but like as we know them, they were among the first wave, and I think that it's easy for now some of these other movies to improve upon what was already set.
that's true.
But you do have to give them some credence for kind of being early on in that.
Yeah.
But
No, that's facts. That's facts. And it's evolution at the end of the day. Things get better with time. Because I still have nostalgic moments watching, Batman Forever. I still watch even though I know that shit's not that good. But yeah, we've came a long way with movie making as far as like the superhero content and things as well too. So I hope DC can finally get or string along, quality content and they do good in the box office because I would like to see them thrive because like you said the comics are A1 and then the animated series that they have all over Max is top tier as well too.